All right, guys, big news. Apparently we have a king. We are living under an oppressive regime and the people are having it no more. They decided to take to the streets in a no kings protest, which is exactly what wouldn't be happening if you actually lived under an oppressive regime. But let's talk about it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Today we're talking about the No Kings protest that took place all over the United States recently. It was in Boston, New York City, Atlanta, and funnily enough, the Atlanta crowd is looking really interesting considering like nearly half of Atlanta's population is black, but look at all the white people hanging out in this crowd. Let's watch.
Unite to protect us, just in case universities try to teach us, just in case protesters try to show up and remind us of who we are. They know after step 8, they try to break civil society because they're preparing us for step 9. There are 10 steps to protecting our patriots. There are 10 steps to protecting our democracy. There are 10 steps to protecting our rights.
Protecting their democracy and protecting patriots. More on that later. Before we get into protecting patriots and democracy, I find it so interesting that so many people came out into the streets to protest the current administration, given we don't have a king. This is extremely concerning in regard to the educational state of the average American citizen, considering all these people chose to spend hours and hours on end out in the streets with pride flags and American flags and different signs about Charlie Kirk, which we're going to get into, which were really disgusting, and free speech, given that they're exemplifying free speech in action at this No Kings protest, which is exactly what a king would not let you do. Okay. Now, speaking of kings and oppressive regimes and weird sort of shifts in political power, we're going to get into Kamala Harris's message on No Kings.
Hey, everybody. So in our country, the power is with the people. And tomorrow, I encourage everyone to get out there in peaceful protest of what is happening in our country and express our voice around the country we believe in. So get out there and join the No Kings event near you. And please take care. I'll see you later.
She's like, I'm going to be sitting right here in my $10,000 suit with my jewelry on. Joe's got a bucket of chocolate chip ice cream. And make sure you make it No Kings and not No Queens, considering I was put into the Democratic candidacy without a primary. Y'all literally didn't ask for me. And there I was right on stage, pedestalized for all of you to vote for. Did you vote for me? Yes, because you had to. We literally didn't give you a choice. And remember my old buddy Sleepy Joe? Yeah, he was asleep, but we told you he was wide awake. We told you he was as sharp as a tack. We told you that his mental faculties were all right there, even though he was literally experiencing mental malfunctions right in front of you.
So for a nation the size of Israel, it was like 15 9/11s.
But no kings. Don't say no queens, though. And what I always find funny about these little protests is that it's always when the celebrities sort of creep down out of their ivory towers to hang with the people and let them know that they're just like you and they also hate kings. Here's a clip of John Cusack.
The whole country was founded on no kings.
This is your city. What do you see happening to your city right now?
Everyone knows the score, right? The authoritarians divide and conquer, and they create an other, and then they pick on it, and then pick on the person and harass them, jail them, and that's all used as a distraction so they can steal as much as they can, maintain power, right? We all know history, so that's what he's doing, and we have masked goons roaming the streets, hiding their faces, abducting people.
Right.
What is the most upsetting headline for you? When you see something in the news, does it hit you in your gut? Does it hit you in your heart?
It's all upsetting. Seeing sort of a fascist authoritarian, seeing that sort of cosplay that the right wing has been fooling around with for so long, seeing it kind of devolve into the real thing is predictable, but deeply saddening.
You're a storyteller. What is the story of Chicago?
Go to hell.
Is that the message from Chicago?
Yes. What's interesting is that he doesn't understand that all the labor rights around the world came from this town, this place. So if he thinks this place is going to be a fascist hub, no chance.
Okay. I just got to explain this. Typically, okay, when you're living under a fascist regime, a totalitarian regime, you don't have a choice. You don't get to really tell them to go to hell. It just doesn't exist in that way. And when he talks about the right sort of coming in and creating an other, where and who? Who are they? Who are the others? Last time I checked, you guys control nearly every single bit of news media. Last time I checked, you control late night. Last time I checked, you control all of Hollywood, given that John Cusack is right there and he knows exactly what Hollywood is like. Last time I checked, you control higher education. You control the public schools. You control all of these different unions in this country. Last time I checked, you guys were the ones who literally locked down nearly all of America and told people who could and could not go out of their homes, who could do their jobs. You did it with law enforcement. You did it with the fire department. You did it with everybody on social media, labeling things as misinformation, censoring people, shadow banning them. You had actual big tech corporations working alongside the FBI, the CIA, the federal government, trying to stop people from saying what they wanted to say, which is an infringement upon free speech. So who was really being othered here? And how are conservatives doing it to you, John Cusack? And as far as the mass goons that he refers to, I guess, who are picking up people who are in this country illegally, many of whom are criminals. They're federal law enforcement. They're not mass goons. They're federal law enforcement. And last time I checked, Chicago was not doing that well. And we know who's running Chicago. We know how these metropolitan areas in our country are doing right now. And we've seen what Donald Trump has done in Washington, D.C., Memphis. We see as the citizens are literally coming out of their house, many of whom for like the first time where they're able to have their kids play in the front yard and not be worried about getting shot or watching a violent crime take place right in front of their eyes. And the same could be done in Chicago and probably should be done in Chicago. But here you are, John Cusack, a person who is never going to have to deal with that, who is never confronted with the actual reality of your policy, talking about not having kings. Okay. And of course, if we're going to speak about celebrities, we have to talk about Pedro Pascal, okay, who comes out into the street every single time there's like any sort of protest ever to like look hot and be called daddy and a heartthrob or whatever. And he is a lifelong communist. Look into his family history. His family is just an entire group of elite communists. He has a trans brother who identifies as a sister. This guy is going to be wherever the eyes will view him, speaking about some sort of communist message, which, last time I checked, they're pretty into fascism, totalitarianism, authoritarianism, but let's not talk about that because Pedro Pascal looks really hot holding his fist up at the No Kings protest. But now we'll move on from celebrities to the average Joe. This guy is at the No Kings protest and he doesn't even know why he's there.
Trump's a bitch.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. We don't like him. That's the word around here.
Any particular reason why you don't like him?
No clue at all. I'm just going with everybody else saying.
Hey, yo, world be free. I don't know why he's a punk ass bitch. I just heard I don't like him, okay? We go where the homies go. If they out in the street saying no kings, I'm gonna say no kings. Please, be so for real. Okay, and if they do know why they're there, the message is deeply concerning. The amount of people who were here saying just crazy I'm gonna be honest, pardon my French, okay? I'm gonna show you a clip where this guy says ICE agents need to get shot and wiped out. Oh, at the No Kings protest where we're protesting fascism, we need to shoot people and wipe them out. Okay.
You gotta grab a gun. We gotta turn around the guns on this fascist system. These ICE agents gotta get shot and wiped out. The state machinery, that's a full display right there, has to get wiped out. You gotta grab a gun.
If I was organizing this or a part of this, I'd be like, who gave him the mic? Get the mic back from that man right now. Like, what is going on? Do you see anybody doing anything? No, just light as a feather. Everybody there's doing just fine. We're having a good day, nice weather out, while a man is literally screaming about heinous acts of political violence. Okay. And speaking of heinous acts of political violence, of course, many of the people at this No Kings protest were addressing Charlie Kirk, and they addressed them in, again, very heinous ways. Here's a clip. So that woman is mocking Charlie Kirk's death. And guess what? She's a teacher in Chicago schools. So Chicago's doing really well right now. It's doing really great when you have teachers who are literally cheering on the death of their political opposition. Here we have some photos from Denver's No Kings protest, where they say things like, make assassinations great again on their shirt, or politicians don't die like they used to. Also things like Charlie Kirk had it coming. Change my mind. A little callback to Steven Crowder for those of you who don't get the joke. This is, I guess, a representation of what many on the political left think and feel right now, all while they are screaming, "No kings." I'm going to show you another clip of a lady substantiating why she's out on the street for this No Kings protest.
Recently, with Charlie Kirk being assassinated,
He's a piece of garbage. Of course we were mean. I am so tired of people.
She said, don't even get the question out. Let me just go ahead and address it. Let me go ahead and tell you how I feel.
Saying, oh, but, it's a terrible thing. No, Hitler is dead. I'm glad Hitler's dead.
Something that I've heard in interviewing Republicans is that they're concerned with the health care going to undocumented immigrants. What would you say about that?
I don't know that it's true.
Is it not true, or you don't know that it's true? Because if you don't know that it's true, what are you doing, baby? I don't know. Give it a Google search. Look it up a little bit. Get some facts. I don't know. These people are going off feelings. They've been made to feel this way about the political right, about Trump, about, whatever the case may be. And they're running out into the streets with their little signs because it makes you feel good. And I think more so than ever, more so than the political message of all of this and the violence and the just disgusting nature of what they're saying, these people are starved for community and connection. Starved for it. And I think being out in the street with signs like this around people of like-minded natures, they feel good about themselves and they feel like they're accomplishing something. But at the end of the day, if you really look at it from a bird's eye view, as I got to look at myself, because I was a former leftist doing this exact tomfoolery, okay, these shenanigans, okay. When I look back at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, you just wanted to be seen. You just wanted to be heard. It didn't really matter what you were saying. You just wanted to feel like you did something. And at the end of the day, you did nothing. At the end of the day, you bought a piece of cardstock or a project board at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Probably not Hobby Lobby because you guys protest that too. And you wrote your little message on it. You went out into the street and you screamed. You essentially went to a rage room with a bunch of people who support your politics. And then you went home. You didn't do anything. You didn't get a message to anybody. You didn't change anybody's mind. You didn't commit any actual action other than, I guess, what must feel cathartic, screaming your voices and your message out into the void. But I can't even imagine it feels cathartic because they're still mad. You're still mad. What? It's like you thrive on anger and madness and rage. And if you didn't have it, you'd make it up, which is what they're doing right now because we don't have a king.
Everybody deserves health care, and we can certainly afford it in this country. So again, they're just,
we can certainly afford it.
They're pointing to things and saying it's our fault, we're too liberal. Yeah, it's really depressing. I don't know how anybody your age even thinks of having children, okay? Okay, millions of Democrats.
It's really depressing. I say as I hold, then why are you out here? What are you doing? Okay. As somebody who's a senior in this life, and I'm not saying she's old, she's an elder. You're supposed to impart messages of wisdom, and somehow you managed to be born. She probably has kids. And, we've all done this in times of grave danger and agony and anxiety, and when things were not going great in the world. That is quite literally human nature. Or for you to boldly stand there with your little sign saying, I don't know why you even have kids. Okay. I guess your message dies with you. I guess if everybody in this crowd decides not to also have children, you're done? Because how are you going to impart that wisdom upon other people? Oh, well, you guys did infiltrate the public education system and the higher education system. So you got that covered.
Democrats did not vote. Whose fault is that? We need to get ourselves together. And we might even need to be a little bit meaner because the Republicans don't mind being mean.
I have to laugh. We got to get meaner. Regina George needs to get meaner? Huh?
And by mean, what do you mean? Do you mean protesting? Do you mean...
Maybe we have to, stop being so nice.
Because you seem like a pretty nice lady.
I'm a pretty nice lady, but I can be pretty mean, too.
Can we play back the part where she said Charlie Kirk deserved it and that he's Hitler?
Okay, and I have to ask this because people on the other side are going to say that they feel like the Democrat Party has been mean. Recently, with Charlie Kirk being assassinated,
He's a piece of garbage. Of course we were mean. I am so tired of people saying, oh, but, it's a terrible thing. No, Hitler is dead. I'm glad Hitler's dead. Evil people have no place in my world. He was a hateful human being. It was disgusting, the things that he said and did. I don't have time for that. I'm sorry. I have to point my energy in other directions.
About a person, about anything at any given time at all, but it's not normal. These are not normal times that we're living in. These are not normal political messages, and they're certainly not okay. Now, I'm going to show you a sign that somebody brought to these No Kings protests saying, which one heals faster, A, Trump's ear or Erica's heart? Do I even need to say anything else about that? I don't think so. These are the sort of people that we're dealing with. And you may want to call this like a fringe group on the left, but the more and more I'm seeing the numbers at these protests, it's not looking so fringe. It's not looking fringe anymore. And I don't know what to do about this other than just try to point out the lunacy, the derangement that we are experiencing, because this is no longer like a little comfortable conversation we have with just a little bit of disagreement or an agree to disagree. This is derangement. This is calls for political violence and death. And I'm hoping that the clips that I'm seeing are just, the clips that go viral. They're super crazy, so they go viral. It's not representative of everybody who's at these protests. But the more and more I see, the more I'm starting to think and acknowledge the fact that we've been acknowledging for quite some time. We have a much bigger problem than we originally thought. And to close out this lovely video, again, I will remind you, we do not live under a fascist regime. We do not have a king. And it's so interesting that these people are taking to the streets now with American flags, because before they were symbols of white supremacy. They were symbols of white nationalism. They were symbols of enslavement and colonialism. But when it suits us, we will bring out our American flag, okay? And we'll hold them and wave them around. When it suits us, we will harken back to our founding fathers, the people that these guys shit on every single day. They say the Constitution is outdated. They say these guys had no idea what they were doing. Now that it's convenient, we're going to go back to our founding fathers and the wisdom that they shared. And I think if our founding fathers were looking right now, okay, they would not be agreeing with you. I think they know what an actual king looks like, feels like, sounds like, what that makes your life like. And it's certainly not the life we're living here now in the United States of America. And if you needed to actually speak to the king himself, let's watch Trump acknowledge these No Kings protests.
Protests over the weekend, the No Kings protests.
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Mr. President, besides San Francisco...
And by the way, I'm not a king. I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
So there you have it. Can we put this to bed? No, they won't ever put it to bed, because it's a literal life source for these individuals. It's what they run on. I thought America ran on Duncan. No, they run on leftist politics and wokeism. And if they say to take to the streets with signs, I don't know, that somebody spent a significant amount of time making, that's exactly what they will do. It doesn't matter if what they're saying is literally antithetical to the reality that we're living in. It doesn't matter that a lot of the things that they're claiming to protest, they've done themselves. It doesn't matter that they're crying about free speech when they've been the ones infringing upon it for, I don't know how long at this point. We already went through that. I gave you the list. All I have to say is, hopefully these individuals wake up. And where Donald Trump says these people are not necessarily representative of America, I might have a different message. They're starting to represent America more and more. They're starting to be a pretty substantial group with a substantial message, and the message is not a good one. So I think we need to keep talking about this. I think we need to keep pointing out the hypocrisy. I think we need to keep pointing out the fallacies and the inconsistencies and just the straight up lies that are being shared by these individuals. And good news for everybody who's at this protest. Again, you don't have a case. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, if you disagree with anything I said in this video, do get out, but do so respectfully. I encourage healthy debate on this channel. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye guys.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.